Hello everyone. It's great to see you again in today's video. In the house where Tu Tien was still resting, an old couple was looking at Tu Tien sleeping. The woman told her husband that looking at her, "I always felt like this was my daughter." The husband also said that he had the same feeling, but it was probably because he had lost his child for a long time and missed her so much that the two of them felt that way. He comforted his wife not to think too much. The old woman also secretly regained her emotions and stood up and went down to the kitchen to let Tu Tien lie there to rest. Outside, Jack was working hard. The old man walked up to him with a set of documents in his hand and gave it to Jack. He said that when Tu Tien had the accident, he saw this set of documents next to her. "Now that Jack is here, I will give it back to you." Jack took it and smiled, saying, "This is my contract, uncle." He then added, "That day I had an appointment with a partner to sign a contract, but because I was in a hurry, I forgot this contract at home and Tu Tien helped me take it to the appointment, but unfortunately, on the way, she had an accident." Hearing Jack tell the story, the old man immediately asked what Jack did for a living. Jack happily replied that he was a construction architect. Seeing this, the old man praised him for being a talented person who had his own company and was also an architect at such a young age. Jack smiled modestly and said that was the result of many years of hard work. While chatting happily, Jack asked the old man for permission to take Tu Tien home today. He saw that her health had gradually stabilized and now the only problem was that she still had not remembered anything. So he wanted to take her to the places where he and she had met and overcome difficulties together so that he could help her remember. Jack thanked the old couple for letting them stay for the past few days and for taking such good care of Tu Tien. The old man also happily said that my husband and I consider Tu Tien as our daughter, so if Tu Tien's health is stable and you want to take her home and take her to find her memories, then take her. If Tu Tien's health is still weak, then stay here with us for a few more days. Jack thanked the two of them for their kindness and thoughtfulness. He said that if there is a chance for the two of them to be free, they should come to my house to play and visit Tu Tien. The old man happily agreed that there would be a chance for them to come and play, and he said that when the two of them hold a wedding, remember to invite them to come and celebrate together. The two of them laughed and talked happily. Then the old man told Jack to continue working. He went into the kitchen to help his wife cook. After saying that, he went into the kitchen, leaving Jack outside to continue working. Tu Tien, who was lying in the house at this time, had just woken up. She slowly opened her eyes to look around, then strained her body, trying to sit up to feel a little more comfortable. Tu Tien looked around the house. Her face looked very sad because she could not remember anything in the past few days. The occasional headache came back, making Tu Tien feel unbearable pain. Tu Tien looked out into the yard and saw Jack sitting working. She slowly walked with heavy steps to the porch and sat down, watching Jack working hard. Looking at Jack, she looked at the ring she was wearing on her hand and then rubbed her belly, wondering if the baby in her belly was Jack's, and if Jack was her future husband or not. Everything to her was so empty. Tu Tien sat leaning against the pillar, her eyes staring into the distance, her face very sad. Jack turned around and saw Tu Tien sitting on the porch. He quickly ran to her and said, "When did you wake up? Why don't you sleep a little longer?" Tu Tien said she was in pain from lying down so much that she wanted to come out here and sit for a bit to relax. Then Tu Tien turned around and asked Jack, "Are you really my fiancé, and is the baby in my belly really ours? Why don't I have any memories of it?" Jack comforted Tu Tien. "Don't worry. The doctor said that you will temporarily lose your memory for a while, and you will soon remember everything. You are my fiancé. When you get well, we will have a wedding." Then Jack added that he was planning to ask his parents for permission to pick you up today. On the way back, he would take you to a place to see if it would help you remember anything. Tu Tien heard Jack say he wanted to take her home, so she shyly said, "I think it's good to be here with my parents." Jack said, "Okay, I will take you to our house. There is also my mother who is waiting for you to come back. Besides, I still have to go to work. We can't stay here forever. It will be a big trouble for my parents." After talking to Tu Tien, Jack stood up and went out to the table. At the same time, The old lady also brought out a plate of fruit for everyone to eat. Jack approached her and said, "I'll take Tu Tien home later, uncle." Hearing this, the old lady seemed a bit surprised. She immediately took a chair and told everyone to sit down under the table to talk. Jack said Tu Tien's health had gradually stabilized, so he wanted to take her home so that it would be convenient to take care of her at home. His mother was very eager for her to come back, and he had to go to work because it was too far away from here, making it inconvenient for him to go to work. Hearing this, the old lady was a bit reluctant to leave Tu Tien, but because of the circumstances in life, she had to accept it. She immediately said that so I can go in and pack things for Tu Tien and then you two can go home early. As she said that, she went inside the house to get things and then she took out Tu Tien's backpack. She told Jack that there were clothes and medicine for Tu Tien in here. When you get home, remember to give her enough medicine so she can get well soon. Jack put on the backpack that the old lady had just given him and asked for permission from the two of them to take Tu Tien home. He said that he would send his home address to the two of you. When you have time, come to my house and visit Tu Tien. After saying that, Jack went out first to prepare the car so that Tu Tien could stay and say goodbye to the two of them. Tu Tien stood in front of her grandparents, her eyes red with emotion. During the days she had an accident, they had taken care of her as if she were their own daughter. At the moment of parting, she held her hand tightly, her voice trembling. "Please consider this place as your home. We consider you as our own daughter." The man beside her could not hide his emotions. He nodded slightly, his eyes shining with love. "Remember to eat well and take medicine to get well soon. And when you have time, remember to come back here to visit us." Tu Tien's tears rolled down her cheeks. She lowered her head. Tears fell gently, hugging her grandmother in her warm arms. The moment of parting was so heartbreaking. No one could bear to let go, because the sincere feelings had bound them together like flesh and blood. The old lady led Tu Tien to the car. The moment of parting was very emotional. Tu Tien stood silently in front of the house gate. The gentle wind blew by carrying the scent of ripe rice in the peaceful countryside. She held Tu Tien's hand, her voice choked with emotion and trembling. "Have a good trip. Remember to take care of your health." Then Jack helped Tu Tien into the car. The two old people outside looked at Tu Tien emotionally and waved goodbye to her. When the car started to roll, Tu Tien turned her head to look back at the two old people still standing there, gradually getting smaller in the morning mist, until they were just a blurry dot in the middle of the quiet country road. On the way back, Jack stopped Tu Tien in front of a small cave, hidden in the middle of the mountainside. Tu Tien was very surprised and didn't understand why he brought her here. He spoke softly, his voice warm but full of hope. "This is where we first met. I want to bring you here to see if you can remember anything." Hearing that, Tu Tien was stunned. She stood still and looked into the darkness of the cave, where so many memories had been imprinted. But now in her mind it was just a faint emptiness. A cold wind blew through the crevice of the rock, carrying the damp smell of moss, making her shiver. Suddenly, an indescribable confusion arose in her heart, and faint memories seemed to be trying to rise in her mind. Everything before her eyes was both familiar and strange. The cliff, the pile of old firewood, the swaying leaves in front of the cave entrance, all seemed to contain something deep in her memory, but the more she tried to remember, the more empty her mind became. A feeling of confusion and helplessness rose up, making her eyes blur. Jack sat beside her, his eyes following her every expression. His heart ached, his eyes filled with sadness that was hard to hide. He clearly saw in her eyes the emptiness, confusion and loss amidst the broken memories. Jack had hoped that this place could evoke some memories, but all was silence. Looking at Tu Tien confused and distant, he felt like he had lost her once again. His heart ached for the girl who had shared so much joy and pain with him, now standing before the place of memories without even a little recognition. His hand trembled slightly, then he gently placed it on her. His voice choked. "It's okay. Even if you don't remember, I'm still here. I will start over with you, from this very place. In that moment, in the quiet space of the mountains and forests, there were only two people left, one trying to find the lost past, and the other trying to hold on to the love that had never faded. Seeing Tu Tien start to tremble with emotion, her face pale, Jack quickly stepped forward to support her. He was worried that trying to remember the past would make her tired and affect her health. Gently holding her hand, Jack whispered, "Okay, let's go home. You need to rest." Then he helped her leave the cave, walking slowly on the steep path covered with forest leaves. Tu Tien obediently followed, her eyes still lingering on the place where she had just stood, as if wanting to hold on to something that had just flashed through her subconscious. Jack squeezed her hand more gently, silently promising not to let her suffer any more pain. When the two of them arrived home, Jack quickly helped Tu Tien into the house. Inside, his mother had been waiting for them for a long time, her eyes filled with anticipation. Seeing the two of them appear, especially when she saw Tu Tien return safely, she stood up happily, her voice filled with emotion. "Oh my God, you're back. Thank goodness." She quickly walked over and grabbed Tu Tien's hand, her eyes filled with tears. Tu Tien bowed her head slightly, shyly responding with a light smile, although she was still confused because she couldn't remember everything. Jack's mother seemed a bit surprised and asked why Tu Tien didn't seem to remember who she was or why she looked different. Jack was afraid that Tu Tien would get tired, so he helped her into the room to rest. When she entered the room, Tu Tien felt a little shy because she was not used to it. Jack comforted her that this was his room and would be their room in the future. He gently helped her lie down on the bed, pulled the blanket over her body, and sat beside her for a while to make sure she was sleeping soundly. His eyes gently looked at her pale face. His heart ached with pity. When he saw her breathing gradually even out, Jack gently closed the door and walked out to the living room. Jack went out to the living room and saw his mother carrying a bowl of hot porridge she had just cooked, about to bring it in for Tu Tien to eat. When Jack called her to go outside to the table, he had something to tell her. His mother immediately went outside to sit with a worried look in her eyes. Jack sat down next to her, his voice small but heavy. "Tu Tien still doesn't remember anything, Mom. The doctor said she has temporary amnesia due to the shock after the accident." His mother was slightly stunned. Her eyes were slightly red. She held her son's hand. Her voice choked. "Poor girl. But at least she's still alive. That's lucky. Take it easy. Everything will be fine." Jack nodded slightly, his heart still full of worries, just hoping to be able to help Tu Tien find herself soon. After speaking, Jack carried the bowl of porridge his mother had cooked and brought it in for Tu Tien. Jack walked into the room with a bowl of porridge still steaming in his hand. The gentle scent of rice and ginger spread throughout the space, carrying the warmth of sincere care. He gently helped Tu Tien sit up, placing another pillow behind her back to help her rest. He looked at her, his voice gentle but full of worry. "Try to eat a few spoonfuls of porridge. You need to have strength to get well soon." Tu Tien was still tired. Her eyes were a bit blurry because she had just woken up. But when she saw the concern in Jack's eyes and his mother's gentle smile, her heart suddenly felt strangely warm. Jack's mother blew on each spoonful of porridge and gave it to her future daughter-in-law, her voice full of affection. "Eat some porridge to warm your stomach, then rest." That small, peaceful scene seemed to gather all the love and hope where, although the memories were still distant, human love was still more present than ever.